seems that changing the president will not be the remedy. Kasi ang problema nga natin, sabi nga ng mga senador at iba nating kababayan, mafia na yan, embedded. I'll just clarify itong sinasabi ni Dr. Vargas na overpayment. Paano ba nagkakaroon ng overpayment ang PhilHealth sa mga healthcare institutions? Na ang sabi mo, umaabot ng 3 bilyon so that we can be clarified. Bakit nagkakaroon ng overpayment?
Mr. Chair, Congressman. Again po, our policy, the provider payment mechanism which we are using, the case rate, allows the payment of a fixed rate. So fixed po siya, predetermined na ibabayad po natin sa mga facilities na magke-claim po para sa certain na sakit. So kaya nga po, since sa amin po, we don't consider it as an overpayment because again, as it is a fixed rate na ibinabayad po natin doon sa mga claims na sinasubmit po.
So, sa madaling sabi, alam ng bawat isa sa atin na case rate ang basihan sa pagkiklaim sa PhilHealth.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So, paano magkakaroon ng overpayment? Na sinasabi mong amounting to 3 billion.
That's why, Mr. Chair, we are not considering po or we are not saying that it is an overpayment. Because again, as it is, we are paying the fixed rate that the current policy allows PhilHealth.
Kasi medyo nako-confuse ako.
Kaya nga
pag sinabi nating overpayment, ang binayad nyo ay 10 bilyon, pero ang dapat nyo lamang bayaran ay 7 bilyon, kaya nagkaroon ng overpayment na 3 billion. Those statements and figures came from you. Sa inyo nang galing yan.
Yes,
hindi sa amin.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair. Yes, Congressman po. Again po, yung pong binayad kasi namin are based on the case rates po na inaalaw ng ating polisiya na fixed amount. So, yun pong lahat ng computation noong ibinayad namin are again based on the fixed rate na computed po and yun po ang inaalaw ng polisiya sa ngayon.
We agree with that. Kung ako ang isang public hospital or a private hospital, magpe-present lamang ako ng claim sa inyo. At kung magkano ang fixed rate based on the sickness, yun ang babayaran nyo.
Kung ito po ay tama na claim, kung ito po ay good claim, with all the
Yes,
necessary
we assume that everything was regular.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Next question. And this is, I am a little bit confused. Paano na naman nalalaman kung magkano ang koleksyon ng isang public or private hospital para masabi nyo kung mas malaki ang kanilang sinisingil sa inyong fixed rate? Do you have the records of that healthcare facility?
Sa ngayon po, Mr. Chair, sa ngayon po kasi, we now allow or we now request, no, it's part of the requirement na meron pong statement of accounts, ang statement of account po.
Pero ang ibig kong sabihin, katulad halimbawa ng Asian Hospital, nalalaman nyo ba kung magkano ang total collection ng Asian Hospital para ma-compare nyo ang case rate as compared to the actual collection?
Ang meron po kami would be the against sa kanila pong ipina-file na claim sa amin.
I am very much confused with all your answers and statements this afternoon. Unahin muna natin sa umpisa. Huwag muna natin pag-usapan ng COVID. Huwag muna natin pag-usapan ang IRM. Pag-usapan lang natin yung 219 downwards. Okay. Sa 219 downwards, meron tayong specific policy. Bago makapag-claim sa PhilHealth, kinakailangan PhilHealth accredited. Okay. Second question, 2019 below, pwede bang mag-claim ng PhilHealth ang isang medical facility even if it is not accredited by PhilHealth?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Only in conditions when one, it is
Only
licensed in conditions po na one, it is licensed by the Department of Health, and second, kung ito po,
anong kondisyon?
kung license po ng Department of Health and in emergency cases lang po.
So in other words, kahit hindi PhilHealth accredited, as long as a medical facility is accredited by DOH, pwede mag-claim ng PhilHealth.
Meron pa pong kasama, Mr. Chair, meron pa pong kasamang kondisyon only in emergency cases. And
Only in?
emergency cases
Okay.
po.
So
And
para malinawan ng ating mga kababayan, ano ba ang ibig sabihin nyo ng emergency cases?
ang mga emergency cases po are those considered to be conditions that will entail life-saving and of course the loss of limb or the loss of sight. So yan po yung ginagamit natin.
Ginagamit yon. Okay. Next question. Tama ba na ang PhilHealth ay nagbabayad lamang sa medical facility if the confinement would last more than 24 hours?
Mr. Chair,
Rule.
as a general rule po, opo. Yes, sir.
Kaya pag kaming mga congressman, nagpa-confine at nagpa-check up at natapos ang aming check up less than 24 hours, we cannot claim PhilHealth.
Mr. Chair, sa ngayon po kasi, katulad ng nabanggit nyo nga...
Hindi nga, kaya nga nililinaw ko lamang.
Opo.
Tama yun.
Opo.
You have to stay in the institution for at least 24 hours.
In general rule po.
Yes. As a matter of fact, kung ikaw ay pupunta lamang sa ER ng isang public or private hospital and you will be staying there only for 20 hours, you will not be entitled to claim any PhilHealth.
Meron, Mr.
No,
Chair.
under normal circumstances, wag na tayong mag-exceptions.
Yes, Mr.
Okay. Next question. Ang PhilHealth ba ay nagbabayad under normal circumstances sa inpatient at hindi kasama ang outpatient?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Kinakailangan confined for at least 24 hours bago ka makaklaim sa PhilHealth. Okay. Now, next question. Meron kayong listing na sinabit sa amin o galing kay Kong Defensor ng top 10 medical case rate for the year 2017. 2018, maisasubmit nyo ba sa amin?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. What about 2019?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Dito sa inyong top 10 medical case rate, nakalagay dito ang total amount of claims paid, pati na total number of claims.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Normally, yung total number of claims would be good for one claimant as a rule.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Okay.
So sa madaling sabi, maibibigay nyo ba sa amin ang listing ng mga healthcare facilities together with their location, together with their level, together with the name of the individuals na nagkaroon ng community-acquired pneumonia for the last 3 years, 2017, 2018, and 2019.
Yes, Mr. Chair, as allowed by the Data Privacy Act.
As
allowed po by the Data Privacy Act. Kasi meron
as
pong
allowed by?
Data Privacy Law po. Kasi meron po
No, but
personal
will
names
you
doon.
just be providing to us the documents? You are claiming that there are 707,113 and we will not make a public disclosure of the name of the patients only for our consumption.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, you can provide.
Mr. Chair, as
Okay, then what about the hypertension?
yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Then the dengue with warning signs.
Yes, sir.
And another one would be the acute gastroenteritis.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And finally, hemodialysis.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And the next inquiry is, how soon can you present those documents?
Um, we will have to, Mr. Chair, we
Ha?
will have to extract the data. If you could uh, give us probably until Monday po.
Until Monday. Kasi ito naman, nakuha nyo ang total ng payment, total ng claimants, i-presupposes na alam nyo na lahat ang mga claimant kung sino-sino. Okay, Dr. Vargas?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Now we go back to pneumonia, the number 1. Itong pneumonia nyo ay maraming klase. Yes or no?
Meron po yun under dalawa po, the moderate risk pneumonia and the severe type of pneumonia.
Okay. Actually, I have seen your case rates. It totals 127 pages. And when it comes to pneumonia, iba-iba ang klase ng pneumonia. Meron tayong healthcare-associated pneumonia, high risk. Meron naman tayong pneumonia in whooping cough, 15,000. Then, different cases of pneumonia, classes. Tama ba yan, Dr. Vargas? And
Yes,
you are a doctor by profession.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I have to say that I am a bypass patient. I'm also diabetic. At ang lagi nilang sinasabi sa akin, kung PD, dapat mag-ingat ka sa pneumonia. Pag ikaw anya ay medyo inuubo na, o kaya meron kang sipon, the first thing which you have to do is to undergo an x-ray of your lungs. Is that the proper medical procedure to determine whether or not a person has pneumonia?
Mr. Chair, it is one of those diagnostics that can say that you have pneumonia. But other than those, of course, as a doctor, we need to check on the history of the patient,
Okay.
including the signs and symptoms.
To simplify the question, ito bang inyong community-acquired pneumonia 3, moderate risk, na kung saan nagbayad kayo ng 10 bilyon, ni-require nyo ba ang healthcare na yung kanilang mga claimants must undergo x-ray o hindi?
Hindi po.
Hindi. So, base na lang sa stethoscope, sa tunog. So, paano madidetermine nyo na talagang tama yung yung claim? Kasi ang laging sinasabi ng COA, it is always a case of upcasing or bloated or superstitious claims.
Mr. Chair, we issued several policy statements with regard to and guidelines with regard to several cases. I will have to check lang po. I will have to check lang po with regard to the pneumonia if the chest X-ray is a requirement, just to be sure po.
You will assume?
No, sir. I will check lang po in our policy statements if the chest X-ray is a requirement.
Diyan nga medyo kami
just to be sure
nagtataka.
po.
You are the senior vice president, you are a doctor by profession, ang laging number 1 nyo sa listing ay pneumonia, moderate, community-acquired, 10 billion, 2017.
Honorable
Pagkatapos,
Barsaga.
hindi nyo alam kung kinakailangan muna ang x-ray o hindi.
Honorable Barsaga, it's not only that, but SBP Pargas is the health policy head of PhilHealth. Honorable Barsaga?
You will be asking.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I will just be confirming po. And I'll check lang po.
We will just wait for the answer.
I will submit po the criteria that we have right now.
Hindi. Ang tanong po ni Honorable Barsaga, simple lang. Stethoscope lang ba o may x-ray? Dahil yung palang sinasabi niyo, wala ng x-ray.
Sorry again, Mr. Chair, I will just have to check to make sure if the X-ray is a requirement.
Okay, I'll go to another point. Well, we have the case of case regarding the dialysis. In which case, ang pinag-uusapan na naman natin, yung case rate na bloated or fictitious ang mga tao na dinadialysis. And if you will recall, ang mga involved dito ay private healthcare facilities. Tama ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
No public healthcare facility was involved insofar as the bloating of claims of dialysis is concerned.
I will have to check that with the legal.
But you cannot cite one.
None
Okay.
at the moment, sir.
Then, nagkaroon din tayo ng isang issue regarding the cataract operation. As a matter of fact, you even specified yung mga cataract eye clinics, yung mga eye clinics na nag-conduct ng mga cataract na bloated ang mga claims. Do you recall that?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And can you also recall na itong mga cataract clinics na to na involved doon sa bloated cataract claims are also private clinics?
I will have to check, Mr. Chair, if these are just private clinics. But yes, as far as I know, yun pong mga naging scandal before involves private clinics.
Hindi ba kayo nagtataka kung bakit ang laging na-involve sa mga isyong to ay mga private providers, private healthcare facility?
Mr. Chair, I so far po,
You don't analyze because pag mag-analyze ako as a lawyer and based on my personal experience, when it comes to public healthcare facilities, we are covered by COA rules. Hindi kami pwedeng magbigay ng reimbursement, hindi kami pwedeng magbigay sa PhilHealth ng any amount. Unlike in case of private healthcare providers, the checks are being made payable to them. They are no longer subject to COA audit. And that is the reason why I want to ask, sino-sino ba ang mga binabayaran nyo dito sa moderatrix? Baka ang lumabas dito, karamihan na naman ito ay mga private health facilities. Because they are not subject to COA rules. Kaya yun ang naging problema natin. Also, marami kayong binigay sa amin na listahan ng cases against healthcare institutions. Totoo ba yun? You are aware of that?
yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Number of healthcare institutions involved, 788. Based on the document which you have submitted.
I'm not sure of the number, sir, but yes. I'm not sure of the number, sir, but
So who would be the most competent person to answer insofar as the number of cases against healthcare institutions are concerned?
our legal, Mr. Chair.
Okay, legal. But you are also the head of the policies pertaining to health.
Mr. Chair.
Okay. Dito, nakalagay ang pangalan ng healthcare institution. Wala yung mga pangalan. Nandito ata. So, can you verify whether or not these healthcare institutions are public or private, together with their level, whether level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 3. Wala ang listahan. Meron din kayong mga listing ng doktor. Ang tanong ko, itong mga kasunto started calendar year 2000 to 2019. Meron ba kayong na-file na criminal case?
Mr. Chair, I think our legal is online.
As the legal.
Who's the legal who's online? May we know? Attorney, sinong legal nandiyan natin? Is Attorney Del Rosario is there? Philhealth Legal, recognized. Oh, there's no legal, Honorable Barsaga.
So, who would be the most competent person to answer this inquiry so that we can require his or her presence either physically or through Zoom meeting? Oh, wala na makakasagot sa inyo. Who will be the most competent person?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, SVP Rodolfo Del Rosario, Your Honor. SVP Rodolfo Del Rosario.
No, but he's
Your
not there. SVP De Rosario
At
is
the
not
next
there.
scheduled hearing.
next scheduled hearing.
Okay. You ask Attorney Del Rosario.
Ano po yung tinatanong nyo, Mr. Honorable Barsaga?
Well, number one, Mr. Chairman, itong kasong to covers a period of calendar year 2000 up to 2019.
Okay, we have from the prosecution department, Andre Samson, is he there? Or the internal legal, Rogelio Pucalyan.
Okay.
Kasama po ba natin sila?
So, meron din silang binigay na dokumento pending cases as of June 30, 2020. Starting the year 2018, 2019, 2020. So, ang tanong ko, ang heading nito, administrative complaint against healthcare providers and members fraudulent and non-fraudulent. Bukod sa administrative complaint, meron bang pinile na criminal case? Because as a lawyer, I know that both cases can proceed independently from one another. Pangalawa, meron na bang na-cancel ang PhilHealth accreditation insofar as the healthcare providers are concerned na nakalista dito? Number 3, I would like to have the data whether the exact address of the healthcare provider submitted by them and to identify and indicate whether or not they are public or private hospital, pati na kung anong level. Para malaman natin ang mga particulars. Kasi napakarami nito eh. Pagkatapos, naka-specify din dito ang mga pangalan ng mga doktor. Did PhilHealth initiate any complaint before the Professional Regulation Commission for the cancellation or suspension of the doctors who participated in these fraudulent claims against the government? And these are basic questions which an ordinary prosecutor would be doing. Para maiwasan natin ang sinasabing graft and corruption, para maiwasan natin ang mafia sa loob ng PhilHealth. Kasi sa loob lang ata ng 3 taon, napalitan na ang inyong head ng 3 times. Ilan na ang naging head nyo for the last 3 years?
Would anyone reply?
Can you not reply? We have right now Director GM General Morales. Before General Morales.
General, Mr. Chair, before General Morales, it was
Ha?
before General Morales, it was Dr. Ferrer,
Dr. Ferrer.
and prior
And before Dr. Ferrer,
Doctora de la Serna.
and all of these were made during the incumbency of President Duterte.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Notwithstanding the desire of the President to clean PhilHealth, it seems that changing the President will not be the remedy. Kasi ang problema nga natin, sabi nga ng mga senador at iba nating kababayan, mafia na yan, embedded. Even if you change the head, as long as they are still there in the PhilHealth, no, but there will be no significant change. Kaya tinatanong na natin, simple, nagkaroon ba ng mga prosecution? Wala. Pagkatapos, I will be asking an update regarding the case of WellMed and the other dialysis centers whose cases were dismissed by the Quezon City Regional Trial Court last year. At pati na yung sa Cataract kung ano nangyari. Okay? Bumalik naman tayo sa case rate ng COVID. Okay, ang sabi kanina ni Director Padua, when you started the payment for COVID, there was no case rate. Tama ba yun?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So, kailan kayo nagsimulang magbayad sa COVID? What period was covered? And when was the first payment?
Mr. Chair, I don't have the date when we first started to pay, but if as I remember, our policy po on COVID is retroactive to February 1, when there was the first COVID patient.
February.
February 1.
Okay, next question. Kailan kayo nag-start ng case rate sa COVID?
We started po for admission, the admission starting April 15.
In
April 15 po. Admission
April
starting
15.
April 15.
At ano naman ang dahilan kung bakit noong April 15, nag-umpisa na kayo na magkaroon ng case rate sa mga COVID cases?
Initially po, Mr. Chair, we don't have any data with regard to the COVID because it is new. Until such time that we have already the data we have collected from hospitals with COVID claims, the itemized billing charges coming from the hospital, that we were able to come out with the case rates.
Pero ang laging sinasabi ng PhilHealth, because of the COVID, you appropriated 30 billion for IRM in order to address the pandemic. Tama ba?
Mr. Chair, 27 billion po.
Ha?
27 billion.
27 billion. Ang sabi nyo, kaya kayo nag-IRM is in order to meet the pandemic problem in the country. That's why you set aside 27 billion para sa IRM.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Pagkatapos, ang sabi kanina ay noon lamang kayo April 15 nag-start ng case rate sapagkat wala kayong data at hindi nyo alam kung magkano ang gagastusin sa COVID. Kaya prior to April 15, unlimited ang payment ng PhilHealth for COVID cases.
Mr. Chair.
O ano ang pinakamataas na binayad nyo prior to April 15 for one individual?
Meron kayo.
Kahit hindi po eksakto, at least an approximation nung pinakamataas.
Apologies, Mr. Chair. I don't have the data right now.
You cannot answer.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So can you give a listing
Yes, Mr.
of
Chair.
all the COVID cases which you have paid prior to April 15?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And because of those payments, nagawa kayo ng case rate starting April 15. Tama po ba?
Mr. Chair, but even prior po to the filing of claims, we already asked from the hospitals, especially those with COVID patients, to submit to us itemized billing charges for those patients.
Hindi, linawin lang natin. Bigyan nyo lang kami ng listahan ng mga COVID patients na inyong binayaran sa mga ospital up to April 15.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. And secondly, starting April 15, nagkaroon na kayo ng case rate.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yung bang case rate nyo sa COVID, makikita na sa website ng PhilHealth?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Makikita na. And what is the highest amount?
700,000 plus po for critical pneumonia.
And because of this COVID, lumabas na ang inyong policy regarding IRM.
Mr. Chair, the IRM policy po has been there since noon pong may Yolanda, Marawi.
We know that.
Apo.
We know that, Yolanda. We know that about Marami. Pero ang lagi niyong sinasabi sa inyong IRM will be the circular 2020-017. Tama ba?
07 po.
07.
Opo, because that time po,
No, wag na, okay na lang yun.
Okay.
Oh, doon tayo sa circular 2020-007. Okay. Number one, that is a circular. That is the one appearing in your website.
yes, Mr. Chair.
And as far as I can recall, that circular was signed by General Morales.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Prior to the issuance of that circular, was there a board resolution o wala? We'll ask Director Padua. Bago ilabas ang circular dated 2020-007 ni General Morales, meron bang pag-uusap ang board for the issuance of this circular?
Sir, during that time, when we were talking about IRM, the board, based on my perspective, approved the application for IRM, basically because of President Duterte's proclamation number
Ano ko, simple
922.
lamang. Nandito na yung PhilHealth Circular number 2020-007. Ang tanong ko lamang, bago ba i-issue itong circular na to, was there a previous agreement or endorsement coming from the Board of Directors of PhilHealth?
Ma'am, yes, please.
Kasi meron pala, po silang pinaratify noong 31 March 2020 for the IRM to all healthcare facilities nationwide. Given this COVID-19 pandemic, at that time, because wala pang pattern of geographical distribution ang
So,
COVID.
simple lamang tayo. Sabi mo, Mr. Chairman, the ratification was made on March 31. Ano ang niratify noong March 31?
Yung application for IRM po.
Yung application for IRM. Kailan unang-unang nagbigay ng IRM ang PhilHealth to any health facility? When was the first time? Dr. Vargas?
Mr. Chair, I'm referring to our finance.
Ano ko lamang, ang sinasabi ni Director Padua, ratification. E alam natin yung ratification, it is already after the act, not prior. Sa madaling sabi, nung i-issue ang circular, walang previous board meeting. Tama ba yon?
Sir, meron na pala akong, can I trace already once and for all yung history nitong IRM? Kasi parang,
No.
I read it, I got
Huwag
it.
na nating i-trace ang history kasi babalik pa tayo sa Yolanda, babalik pa tayo sa Marawi, babalik pa tayo sa Taal Volcano.
Ito na lang po, yung the first one po.
What date?
Oo. The first was on 30 January, kasi ni-record ko po to sa akin, nasa notes ko po, Your Honor. The first was on 30 January 2020, when the PhilHealth Board approved the immediate payment of 50% of all the pending good claims in the province of Batangas to alleviate the burden experienced by PhilHealth members and healthcare providers by reason of the said natural
Okay.
calamity. Papunta na po ako sa
Teka
second.
muna. PhilHealth approved the payment.
Opo.
So it is not an advance payment. There was already a claim. Kasi itong sinasabi
Kaya
natin,
nga po, ito po kasi, sabi ko nga, I just want to read the chronology of events para malaman niyo po. Okay. So, the PhilHealth Board included IRM among the special privileges that may be conferred to healthcare institutions and PhilHealth members during unforeseen events and emergencies on matters such as membership, accreditation, and benefit payment. Such inclusion will enable management...
well, I am very much satisfied. Ha?
Okay.
Thank
Now,
you
the
for your
second na
time.
po. You
Ha?
want to go to the second na po eh.
No,
di ba?
I'll just make an inquiry. Okay. Mr. Senior Vice President? Okay. Sinasabi ni Director Padua, meron ng IRM as early as January 2007.
Honorable Barsaga,
not
if you don't mind,
2007.
nakasa IRM na po tayo.
Ha?
Nasa IRM na po tayo. Wala na po tayo sa...
Okay.
Nasa case rate, opo. Wala na po tayo sa case rate. Ang ibig sabihin po, lumagpas na po kayo na you already went to the IRM issue.
The case rate arising from the IRM.
Okay. Yes. Can
Okay,
I...
I'll just reserve my question regarding IRM.
Yes.
So that makapag-tanong yung mga susunod sa aking mga kinatawan.
So, okay. Thank you so much, Honorable Barsaga.